Welcome to my final Big Bang Theory Season 11 episode review video. This, of course, being the Season 11 finale. Before I get into that, though, pretty important, if you aren't caught up to the point where I am, every watching or watching the Big Bang Theory, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which, of course, I'll mention, as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, you find that you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this detailed review any further to avoid any potential spoilers. This will be the Big Bang Theory Season 11, Episode 24, the Season 11 finale. The title of this episode is called The Bowtie Asymmetry, and this will be my review reaction recap after just finishing watching the episode. So, Maid of Honor Penny is organizing the hotel and transportation arrangements for the wedding guests. She remarks that their wedding day was a day that she never thought would happen. Both Sheldon and Amy have similar feelings. She rallies the troops, comparing their jobs to one of their comic book movies. Raj suggests the new Avengers Infinity War movie, the film that Bernadette napped through. Amy brings up a Lord of the Rings anthology, saying that someone has to go to places like Gandor, Mordor, and hold off the Demon of Shadow and Flame. Said demon is assumed to be Amy's mother. Sheldon thinks that is appropriate since the Lord of the Rings trilogy involves a ring that binds you in forever. Amy turns to Penny and she is touched and that he said forever. Amy gets off the phone with Will Wheaton, who is excited about officiating their wedding. Sheldon keeps working on his bow tie during trying to get it perfect. He also explains that when he was younger, he would have asked for William Shatner to do his wedding, but he was too expensive. Will Wheaton would do. Also, Sheldon wants to get his bow tie even. However, Amy thinks that a little asymmetry looks good. In the Renaissance, the concept was known as something, she says. Sheldon is more of an age of enlightenment person. Amy wonders if Sheldon has any pre-wedding jitters. Sheldon does not, even if he came back from the future to stop the wedding because their child was going to destroy humanity. Amy adds that even under those circumstances, they had gotten married because Sheldon believes that time travel is a closed loop. Sheldon then tells her how much he loves her so damn much. Penny is bringing in Amy's parents and asks if Mr. Fowler was comfortable sitting in the back. His wife says that he is fine talking over him before he can answer. She also complains that Amy didn't even pick them up, saying that even though it is the day before the wedding, she just didn't have enough time for her mother. She feels that Amy used to be a much more devoted daughter and now is just waiting for her to die and get her china. Raj picked up Mary Cooper and her daughter Missy. Mary is very appreciative to Raj. Mary says that their driver to the airport was also an Indian fellow. Missy comments, though Mary doesn't think that that's racist to notice that someone is Indian. Raj agrees with Mary and he did notice that they were both white. Mary adds that Missy is a bit hormonal since she is pregnant. Raj congratulates her and Missy sarcastically replies, "Whoopee!" Missy notices that she is separated, Missy notes that she is separated from her husband. Raj finds it interesting that she is available. The engaged couple and Leonard are visiting with George Cooper, or Georgie. Amy remarks that he is Sheldon's brother. He replies that Sheldon got the brains and he got the human bod, and the face and the hair. Amy loves his accent and wishes that Sheldon had it. Sheldon can sound like that, but won't. Raj brings in Missy while his mother stopped at the hotel to freshen up and pray for Missy's soul. Sheldon introduces Amy and adds that if he ever needs a kidney, to ask his twin sister. Amy is happy and remarks that she always wanted a sister. Sheldon wonders why. Missy adds that she loves him too. Penny enters uttering, "Oh my God." Next come in the Fowlers. Mrs. Fowler calls Amy Mama's little girl and can't believe she's getting married. She adds that her husband can't believe it either. Amy tells her father hi and asks how he is doing. Without a word, Mrs. Fowler indicates that he wants to hang himself. Interesting. Howard is petting a dog while Bernadette comes downstairs wondering where he came from. She already has 2 kids in Howard and Stuart. Howard found the dog in the backyard and called it over. The doorbell rings and it's Mark Hamill, a.k.a. Luke Skywalker. Howard excuses himself, closes the door, and squeals, "That's Mark Hamill!" Mark is so glad that Howard found his little friend, Bark Hamill. Yes, the dog's name is Bark Hamill. Mark had an online contest with the fans, and runner-up was Honey Baked Hamill. Howard won't accept a reward, so Mark asks him if there's something he could do for him. Howard adds that he'll probably regret saying that. Stewart approaches Denise with, "Hey, dude," and adds that he doesn't think of her as a woman. She doesn't think that he is much of a man. He asks her to Sheldon and Amy's wedding, which she appreciates, but she thinks he is weird since he is their boss. Howard then runs in telling them that Mark Hamill is going to officiate their wedding, and then Denise turns around and tells Stewart that he needs to buy her a dress. So she'll go now because Mark Hamill's going to be there, but they don't have proof yet. Mrs. Fowler, played by Kathy Bates, I forgot to mention, mentions that Amy played Amelia Earhart in the 8th grade at home, not in a school play, with all those kids that take drugs and have intercourse. Penny raises her wine glass and Leonard fills it. Leonard mentions the Fun with Flags internet show, which embarrasses Amy. Her mother reminds Amy what men do with those online videos. Raj tries to defuse the comments by saying that the show puts him to sleep. Sheldon was being quiet, thinking about string theory. Mrs. Fowler tells her husband that these are the people that he's leaving her with after he dies. Wow, she's a very cold person. Howard meets Bert Kibler at the wedding. Bert Kibler. Bert, why did I call it? I think his name is Kibler. It's a Keebler. But Bert's at the wedding and tells him that he looks good. He compares himself to a geode that looks wonderful, but you have to break it open to see the beauty. Raj sees Mark Hamill enter, and Howard explains how he got him there. Howard then has to go to Will Wheaton to tell him that he's been replaced. Leonard is actually getting emotional helping Sheldon get ready. Leonard is happy for Sheldon and that he will be officially and legally Amy's problem. Sheldon adds that he will always be Leonard's problem. Leonard hugs him as Mary Cooper comes in and asks for a moment with her son. They both agree that they wish that his dad could be there. She is proud of him. Sheldon thanks her for everything, including his whole life. They hug, and then his mother wants to straighten his tie. Sheldon wants it to be a little asymmetrical. Mary adds that sometimes it's the imperfect stuff that makes things perfect. Sheldon has a thought and leaves. Mary then says to herself, "Case in point," referring to Shelley. Will Wheaton approaches Mark Hamill and says, "So we finally meet," and Mark doesn't know who he is, but does appreciate all the notes that Will had made for the wedding ceremony, staying up all night because he thought he was going to be the one officiating it. Amy is adjusting her veil when Sheldon knocks, his usual knock 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 Amy, knock 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 Amy, knock 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 Amy, and she tells him to come in. He thinks that Amy looks amazing. He then describes how her comments about imperfection in his bow tie makes him want to add the imperfections of real world into his string theory calculations. Amy then calls his work super asymmetry, and he likes it. He gets her lipstick, meaning the lipstick she has, not gives it to her, and starts to work out the calculations on her stand-up mirror. Howard approaches Mark Hamill and asks him to stall since the bride and groom are running late. Mark doesn't know what to do, so Howard asks if there was any Star Wars questions from the congregation, and then a lot of hands go up, including Mrs. Fowler's. Raj is jumping up and down. Sheldon is hard at work talking about slightly asymmetrical knots when Leonard comes in to check on them. They tell Leonard that they are inventing a super asymmetrical. Leonard hasn't heard of that and wants them to leave until he gets into the discussions. Raj asks Mark Hamill about Luke Skywalker trying to understand the native language when he was on the Wookiee home planet. Mark doesn't remember that. Stewart, however, remembers it happened on the dreaded Star Wars Christmas special. Georgie wonders why none of the Star Wars vehicles use tires, also stumping Mark. Again, Stewart answers. Denise tells Stewart with a longing look that he is so hot. Mrs. Fowler gets up to take Amy home because she is convinced that Sheldon stood her up. Penny tells her to sit back down because she knows that they love each other and Sheldon wouldn't hurt her. on her wedding day especially. Mary tries to applaud Penny, who tells her to also sit down. Amy's mother tells her husband to say something because of the way Penny spoke to her. In defiance to his overbearing wife, he replies, "Thank you." Leonard checks Google and finds that no one has thought of their idea of super asymmetry. They have a brand new idea. Penny comes in and asks what these lunatics are doing. They are working on science. Penny finds that shocking, but what about the wedding? Sheldon agrees that they have their entire lives to work on science. Amy says, "Let's get married." Penny is pumped up and leaves to get the wedding started. Penny enters with Sheldon and Leonard. Sheldon is shocked at finding Mark Hamill in the place of Will Wheaton. So Sheldon's like, "Mark Hamill." It's pretty hilarious. And Mark congratulates him as the music starts, and Amy comes in on her father's arms. Amy notices the difference, but it is just another sci-fi guy with a beard. Mark Hamill moves straight to their vows since he has been answering questions for 45 minutes. Stewart knows who was really answering the questions. Amy tells Sheldon that she knew there was something special between them ever since they met in the coffee shop, and her love has been growing ever since. She doesn't know what the future holds, but she knows she has never been more happier than she is at that moment. Mark gets all choked up and tells Sheldon to continue. Sheldon doesn't know what to say because he is overwhelmed by Amy. Even if he can't express himself at the moment, he plans on spending the rest of his life showing how much he loves her. Mark Hamill Barry gets out asking them if they will wed each other and finishes by, "The power vested in me by evenyoucanperformweddings.com. He declares them man and wife. They kiss. Applause breaks out, and Sheldon escorts his new wife, Amy, down the aisle to Barry Kripke, singing, "At last, we wove has come along, my lonely days are over, and wife is all song." Leonard and Penny follow them, quite amused, and that's what ends this episode and season 11 of The Big Bang Theory. So the end of this season was really good. The middle part wasn't the best. I'm going to score this episode a 10 out of 10 because I like the whole stuff with Mark Hamill. I thought it was really good. I'm not a big fan of Mark Hamill's comments. Well, it doesn't really apply now, but his Joby-Wan Kenobi comments that he made. But anyway, this was a good episode. It was a good Sheldon and Amy episode. So 10 out of 10 for me. Sheldon and Amy are the co-characters of the episode. You gotta put them as co-characters. And then, as many of you know, I rate Kent Penny because Penny is the reason why I started watching The Big Bang Theory and one of the reasons why I continued watching it. I'm going to give her an 8.3 out of 10 in this particular episode. So you've heard everything that I have to say. Been a pretty long video thus far. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section. Of course, if you're a fan of The Big Bang Theory and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, make sure that you Hulk smash the like button, share the video with a friend, put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Also, in the comments section, let me know what your score is and who you would make the character or characters of the episode. And if you want to do what I do and rate Penny, you can also do that as well. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDevTV.